Hey, what's up? Thanks for watching. George Zinn, this is who Candace Owens calls decoy boy. During the Charlie Kirk assassination, he's the one that was initially arrested. The guy who had lots to say about 9/11, and the guy who called in a bomb threat to the Salt Lake City Marathon. The same guy is now unearthed in a podcast, and it's very weird. It's very weird, and it just has Fed written all over it. Like, if you had suspicion that this guy was a Fed before, you're probably going to feel pretty sure of it by the time you watch the end of this. So let's get started. Props to James Lee. This is some really good work he did unearthing this podcast by George Zinn, sorry. And the things that are said in it are just outrageous. I mean, literally, the guy's got to be a Fed.
I did it. And he kind of gets dragged. Well, apparently George Zinn had to receive medical treatment following that little fracas. And he told multiple nurses and doctors that he did it because he was being paid to do it. He said he had not been paid yet, but he was going to receive payment. He didn't know from who. That's interesting. Decoy boy told medical staff apparently he was just singing, just telling everybody who would listen that he did it because payment was going to be promised to him if he did do it. What does that tell us?
Well, Candace, what that tells us is that this reaction that he had immediately after Kirk was publicly executed, standing up and waving his arms while everyone was ducking down like a normal human being, that was not an accident. Those are the actions indicative of someone who was exactly where they were supposed to be.
Yes, fantastic point. Absolutely. George Zinn, I feel like right from the get, when I looked him up and I saw that he had this history, I'm like, this guy was supposed to be there. And automatically that tells you what? This was an organized crime, not a lone, person situation. So he's going to play this old podcast. It's so weird. I'm going to skip ahead and get that, but I thought the Candace Owens clip there was worth noting, so I played it first. All right, so skipping ahead to this podcast, first of all, let's look at the title. Special Edition Interview with George Zinn, Utah's most famous political celebrity. Most famous political celebrity? How do you become a famous political celebrity when you're arrested for calling in a bomb threat?
I was born in Athens, Greece.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was adopted when I was a year and a half, so I'm actually a naturalized citizen.
Did you grow up in Far West then when you...
No, I grew up I grew up on the other side of Ogden High.
Okay.
Okay.
So north side of Ogden High.
Just on the other corner on Maryland Street.
You grew up LDS, right?
Yeah.
And but didn't go to college.
I did, yeah.
Okay,
of course, yeah, I went to I consider myself an alumni. I mean,
what did you major in? What was your major?
I started out in philosophy not philosophy, but psychology, I think, because it was interesting and I thought it was good. I did well in high school with it. Decided, well, it was a little different in college. And so I got on into other things. And I think I went into journalism or something because I like to write.
Do you find it weird that he's not really sure about what he majored in? I just went to college. I mean, I think I did this. I mean, and I think I did journalism or something. I mean, I could have been, I don't know, not sure. What is that? How do you not know what you went to college for and why? I mean, where is his mind? Also note, and James Lee makes mention of this too, born in another country and then adopted here. Okay, that happens. But let's just say if you're going to become some kind of Fed and you just end up working for the government, maybe even somebody who's maybe more of the patsy type where you just, maybe they kind of mess with your mind a little bit. I'm just saying, you would kind of maybe expect that to be the type of person that doesn't really have the solid family life. Somebody who may be adopted or somebody who has some shady parents who try to, sell them or something. I know that's what happened to Kathy O'Brien. I believe it was her dad, if I remember correctly, that sold her into that mind control. But anyways, beside the point, you would think that it would be somebody without stable family, another country, comes over, gets adopted, doesn't seem to really remember his life. Like, what was he doing? Like, didn't even know why he wanted to go to college. I don't know. Just making note of it. We'll continue on here.
How long did you stay in college?
I was in there for a couple of years, and it was a little bit too stressful for me. And I just, everybody wanted to plug all this information into my head, and college just wasn't for me. So
it might be nothing, but he said everybody just wanted to plug all this information into my head. I've just never really heard anybody talk about all of the academic pressure that one might get from college being like someone wants to plug it in my head. I don't know. Just another point.
Okay, so the first thing we learn here is that he was born in Athens, Greece. Just an interesting detail. I don't know if there's anything to make from that. But then he was adopted by Mormon parents and grew up across the street from Ogden High School in Utah. He was also a member of the LDS Church, and then he went to college in Utah for several years and then dropped out. Well, here's something interesting. FBI, CIA, NSA, BYU. Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have long been rumored to be special targets for recruitment in government intelligence and security agencies.
Yes, I've also seen lots of reports on this. It is, I guess, because they're multilingual. I don't think he mentions that, but he does mention a lot of the reasons why they do recruit the Mormon population for government intelligence. So another data point, he's in a very highly recruitable area of the United States and religion, and it's known that the feds go after his demographic. I mean, and then on top of it, was adopted. I don't know. I'm not saying his adoptive parents were bad, but just saying there was, who knows what happened there, that there might have been enough trauma or things or something or other that would make his brain a little bit more programmable. Because, in college, people just wanted to put things in his mind and stuff.
A 1981 Associated Press news story reported, quote, the CIA does some of its most successful recruiting in predominantly LDS Utah. Then a 2017 book called The FBI and Religion dedicates a full chapter to the connection, calling church members, quote, a natural recruiting ground for agents. And Tracy Walder, a former CIA officer and FBI special agent and author of The Unexpected Spy, said that the rumor was so common internally that by the time she worked for the government, it had become, quote, a running joke that Mormons are what the agency wanted in their recruitment. Here is a CIA document that I found substantiating some of those claims.
All right, I think he does a really great job laying this out. I think he's a good journalist. I've seen quite a few of his clips. Pretty good. We're going to get back into this podcast is wild.
Yeah, I went to Virginia. Mm-hmm.
Virginia?
Yeah.
What mission in Virginia? Not
Virginia,
Roanoke or the
Virginia Roanoke mission at the time.
Really?
Mission in Virginia. I wonder what else is in Virginia. Anyway, I'm sure that location was a coincidence yet again. Also, another fact, the CIA has been known historically to recruit from missionaries. In terms of George Zinn, we now have 2 points of possible intelligence recruitment. His time in college and also his years as a missionary. Okay, we obviously don't have documents like, oh, look right here, George Zinn, member of the CIA. But what I will say is that, boy, has he really been everywhere.
But you've been
But I'd go
to
anyway.
every national convention.
I've been to at least 10. But I couldn't,
Dude's been to at least 10 national conventions. The guy goes to more national conventions than politicians. Goes on a missionary trip in Virginia. What is he doing? This embedded in politics. Seriously, that he's going into all these national conventions. I mean, keep in mind, the same guy ended up making a bomb threat. What is this guy? Seriously. And then he later ends up being like, I did it, after Charlie Kirk's murdered. All right, we're going to carry on with this.
Been on the floor of more conventions than most Republicans will in their lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the most famous person you've got on your...
Now that's a interesting question.
Okay,
I got a lot of interesting people.
Okay.
I had to go to do my thing in the men's room.
Yeah. Okay.
And I thought, well, and I go in and there's Dan Quell in the urinal next to me.
he just ends up going pee next to the vice president. Nothing to see here. It's just a normal happening in a day in George Zinn's life.
Vice president. And I thought, well, why wouldn't Secret Service block that thing? I thought,
Right.
wouldn't that be interesting that they let people walk right in?
So you walked through the Capitol, paid your respects to Ronald Reagan when he was
Yeah.
laying in state.
Yeah, and they had everything roped off for security reasons. You could only get so far because of everybody walking through that were VIPs. And
Right.
we were sitting next to the cathedral the whole time. And when they came out, I bumped into Henry Kissinger.
No kidding.
I says, I bumped into Al Gore. Wow, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Here I am bumping into all these guys.
What president did you meet? I mean,
I met
Ronald Reagan was dead.
No, I met Reagan when he came to Hooper.
So Reagan, you met him in Hooper.
I met him in Hooper. We had sack lunches that day. It was fun. Yeah.
That's crazy.
This is insane. Like dinner with Reagan, pissing next to the vice president, sneaking into Reagan's funeral. I don't know how you would do something like that. And then rubbing elbows with Henry Kissinger and Al Gore. That is something. And the interviewer actually did try to ask several times, when he started going to all these events and how exactly was he able to sneak backstage. And George basically dodged all those questions, either directly or with a joke.
I mean,
I don't answer questions. I just lollygag around.
well, so
Right? Am I the only one who thinks he's hiding something?
No, you're not the only one. This is super suspect, and it's awesome that you dug it up.
Just looking at all the evidence, it's much more likely than not that he's an asset, right?
So yeah, I totally agree. I think there's something super sketch about this. As soon as they said that they had arrested somebody, I went and I searched the internet and I came across the information that we all did about him and the Salt Lake City Marathon and 9/11. And it's like, yeah, no, this guy, something's totally off. And obviously, there's a lot more to the Charlie Kirk assassination than we know. So this is wild, and I felt very compelled to share it. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.